Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 39. My brain is blown of the She Loves It podcast. And today it's not one, but two of us coming in your ears. It's me, joined by my incredible friend and colleague and longtime mischief making collaborator, the amazing Zoe Foster. Zoe is an artist, an author, and a creator of immersive worlds. She's also an intangible maker of magic and disruptor of the system. I've added that bit, Zoe, because
I
that's
like
what I see in you. She is here to challenge narratives and norms and to make the marginal into the totally manageable, mainstream, magnetic magnificence.
Oh my God, Rachel! I need to employ you.
I know, I'm like casting spells with my words left, right, and centre. That is what is happening for me right now. But that is like Zoe and I have been friends for about 5 years. She never fails to amaze me with the incredible work that she's doing. And I asked her to come on my podcast because she's got something we are so excited to talk about later in the show. But for now, Zoe and I were just like conjuring a little bit before the show, and I said, can we do our check-in live with you listening? Because I always think that like that little bit of behind the scenes and seeing what people like us are doing to prep for things like this is so helpful. And if we're all doing it together, we're all in the same page, we're all on the same energy field, and we're all feeling it together. So if you are driving, maybe don't tune in too strongly. Maybe keep your mind on feeling safe in a car and to manage a big heavy machinery. If you are not driving, I'm just going to invite you to close your eyes. Call your energy back into somewhere within you that feels like a central space to emanate from. Calling all of your energy, your power, your authenticity, your audacity back. And just letting every breath draw you into a grounded, rooted, powerful place that exists eternally within you. Feel like tributaries of energy pouring into that central space. And your whole energy body becoming steadier and more expansive at the same time. We're always dancing with paradox. Allowing yourself to consciously root into the frequency of Mother Earth. You can imagine that you have tendrils emanating from you that wriggle down into the earth, that plant you like an incredible tree or a beautiful lolloping flower. And the more you root, the more you can imagine your tendrils wriggling and rooting into the earth. The deeper you can imagine your tendrils lovingly penetrating the soil, the crystal, the rock, absorbing and exchanging energy fields with Gaia, with our beautiful, incredible planet. And just as I said that, a rainbow appeared behind Zoe's head. How magical is that? So magical. And breathing down, down, down into those tendrils, into that enigmatic exchange with our beautiful planet. Remembering that we are never separate from her and she is never separate from us. We are just borrowing these bodies temporarily. Every breath calms and activates. Every breath calms and activates and calms and activates. And as the energy and frequency of Mother Earth grounds you and simultaneously allows you the rootedness to fully expand, if you are listening and receiving this transmission, allow the ears of your heart to open so that you receive exactly the activation from our discussion today that you personally need. Know, believe, and trust that you are here not by accident but by design, and that you will hear, receive, and be activated by exactly what you personally need. I'm calling in for myself and Zoe as space holders and curators of ideas, that we open the channel now, open the channel now, open the channel now to be vessels of truth, to be vessels of edge-dwelling consciousness brought into the main, seeding ideas and truth, trusting our voices and our visions. And setting, I'm going to set my intention. Zoe, you just to yourself, setting your intention. In fact, I'm going to speak out loud my intention, and then Zoe, if you'd like to do the same, you can. My intention is to listen to the whispers that prompt me to ask various things and to bring out the magic that Zoe holds so that everybody can be touched by it and support the incredible work that she's doing and be activated to dream bigger themselves. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. And Zoe, over to you. If you would like to speak your intention, we are all ears.
I am calling in all of my power from my root and from the ether that I often lose myself in, and bringing it all powerfully back to my heart and radiating that out.
And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Thank you for playing, Zoe, and thank you for playing, wonderful folks at home listening. Oh, yay! Zoe's got a drum. Yay! Oh, Zoe, it's so good to have you on here. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, honestly. And just to say as well, that was freaking incredible. I'm sure I can swear on here, right?
But, yeah. Yeah, you can. I come with an explicit warning.
Oh my God. I just, yeah. Oh, I need to come and find some of your sessions. Why do you live so far away, damn it?
No, I know. We do. Except that we're closer than a lot of our friends, to be fair.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So Zoe's like an author and a painter. Yes. Yeah, I was saying to Zoe before, I was like, show us your book. We want to see your book. Zoe's got a stunning book out that I will share in the show notes. When did you write it, Zoe?
It came out in 2023.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I honestly, I mean, I know we all have this issue, right? But I lost track of years and time, and it all just feels a little parallel. Like I don't quite know where we are anymore.
And probably like the you that created that book is now on a different timeline than the you that is holding that book in your hand. Like what, obviously, right, I mean, right, rewind, Rachel. Okay, so Zoe, give us, before we go into the magic that you're doing now, give us a little background about you and your journey, because I think it's really interesting for people, because you, like, You've done a massive 180 in your life. You are not the woman you were 10 years ago, are you?
I mean, are any of us really? Honestly, like, I'm not that
I think
incredible.
there are people. I think there
But
are people who get stuck in a career and need
mm,
to know that it's possible to change.
well, look, I've been reflecting a ton actually on my past selves recently. I don't know whether that's something that I'm just doing personally or whether there's a collective thing happening around that. But, I've been dreaming about people in my life from 20, 30, 40 years ago.
No
And
way.
I think that I'm clearing a lot of that old stuff, honestly. Some of those old, challenges or relationships or issues, whatever it was. But yeah, let's go back to 2006. I had a bit of a mental breakdown. I was in my one and only professional career in academic publishing. I'd started that in Oxfordshire, and my husband had moved to work in London, and he hated it. It was really hard. He was commuting for hours on end, and then the bombings happened on the tube at the time that he was commuting.
Oh my God.
He was on the tube at the time, just wasn't involved, like, miraculously. And long story short, we decided to move back to Scotland, which is where I'm from.
Yeah.
And I was able to transfer to the Scottish office of the publishers, which was incredible. It was very fortuitous. However, I then lost basically all of the joy that my job had,
Oh.
going to meet editors and going to have like big meetings in London and working directly with the people who I was creating the journal publications for and all the rest of it. All of that was taken away from me, and I just got very depressed, very demotivated, had a bit of a nervous breakdown, left my job, and then went self-employed.
Oh,
And
I didn't realize you went self-employed that long ago. What were you doing at that point?
absolutely, so I started off creating crafts, basically.
Oh,
Yeah, and it was a bit of everything. So I had a little bit of a design background. So I was designing things for people as well. I was designing websites and like branding and stuff. But I was my main kind of meat and veg, as it was making hand felted accessories.
oh
So
wow.
like kind of like really unique handbags and stuff. And then I took some silversmithing classes locally and started designing my own jewelry as well. So like mixed metal, silver and copper jewelry, which I love doing. And then I was doing like all these fairs and festivals and all of this kind of thing, and it was great, but it was really hard work.
Yeah,
And
I've done
I
something similar and it is really and
yeah,
lonely work.
yeah, like those super long at going to markets at like 5 in the morning.
Oh my God.
Like, um yeah, which yeah, it the main thing that I really struggled with, apart from the fact that I had no idea how to be self-employed. I took the whole thing of, well, you work a 9 to 5 because that's what you did as a job, and you approach it the same way. And there was so much unlearning to do, honestly,
Yeah.
especially around what I needed the most.
Which was?
I needed to find rhythm and ritual over routine.
Oh my God, I feel like that needs to be like that's like a sound bite for this, isn't
That's
it?
a t-shirt. Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah.
But I had no idea at the time. I was just, I was totally like winging it and seeing what try, yeah. I was in my 20s, so I could push myself as well a bit as well. Um, and then the next major thing was, well, we decided to largely led by me, I have to say. Everything's led by me, basically, in
God
our
bless
relationship.
having husbands that just go along with it. Like we are so lucky to have easygoing men in our lives.
Well, I was a little bit crafty. I knew that if I just like, said right out, this is what I want to do, we should do it, he would never go for it. So I kind of eased it in very gradually. But basically, we ended up in 2008. We left Northumberland, where we were at the time, and went off in a van. I'd got a colleague, a friend of a colleague, to do up a really battered old like panel van for us, into a bit of a green goddess. There's more rainbows.
Yeah, I know, it's beautiful.
And yeah, and we went off in this van, and it was amazing. It was fantastic, and we had absolutely no idea how long we'd last. Like, we were thinking, well, maybe we'll be back in 3 months, or literally had no idea. My husband got some contracting job because he's in IT, so he can do that. And yeah, we ended up in that van for like 3 years.
Oh my God.
Our son was born in the van, and then
like literally in the van.
Yeah,
yeah. A van birth.
It was gorgeous, actually. It was amazing. And then our daughter was born on our boat, our narrow boat, because we'd outgrown the van, and so we bought a narrow boat. This is like a life history here.
I know, I love it though, because I never knew the first part. I skipped out a whole section.
Yeah,
You've never told me about the jewelry and the felting and that.
Yeah, well, it seems like such a long time ago.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is. It's 20 years ago, but still, it's really. I think it is relevant because it's like.
Yes.
Creative rebellion. That's one of the things we're going to talk about. Creative
definitely.
Rebellion. And it's so obviously a thread that weaves through your narrative.
100%. And I wish I'd known that back then. I wish I'd really understood that. I just felt like
for anyone that's listening that maybe is not at the point where they have like had the nervous breakdown that tells them they are on the wrong path, do you think with the benefit of your story and hindsight, do you think there were clues that you weren't listening to or hadn't noticed?
Absolutely. I struggled with my mental health, honestly, since I can remember struggling with my mental health at 9.
Really?
Like, seriously, having suicidal thoughts at 9. Because everything, it wasn't just that I didn't fit in. It was that nothing, like the world just didn't seem to work for me. And of course, I had no concept of why that was or what was involved in that at the time. But everything just felt like, it was like wearing the wrong clothes, or it's probably the best analogy I can think of right now. But it just didn't feel right constantly. And it felt like I was trying to be an avatar, basically, in my own life.
Wow. From 9 years old?
Yeah.
Wow. That's like classic starseed territory, isn't it?
Yes. And my God, if you'd even mentioned something like that at the time, I'd be like, what?
You're mental. I suppose I should probably say, for anyone that doesn't know, there's like Dolores Cannon. Let me put that in my notes. Dolores Cannon is a great place to read about and to listen to some of that stuff. But the starseed work is basically the idea that like we are not the only conscious sentient beings in the cosmos, in the vast, infinitesimally large cosmos. we are not the only beings who have consciousness, guys. Newsflash. And it's the idea that, like, some of us have come to Earth at this pivotal time from other incarnations, I suppose, or other energetic realities to assist with like this transition that Earth is going through. That I genuinely believe, we are in the middle of a mass awakening and a mass shift in the collective, and the kind of like Earth is splitting in two directions. And
Yeah.
the idea is, as far as I'm aware, Dolores was the first person to talk about it, but the idea is that people are incarnating from different star systems, star seeds they get called, to support the transition. And like hearing you talk like that, that's something that so many people resonate with, that feeling of like, I don't belong in this, it feels weird in this body. Because we forget when we come back into, like, we at one point we decided I'm going to go in and I'm going to be there and I'm going to do my thing. But the kind of payoff is that when you go through the incarnation process, you forget all of that. So you have to relearn it and re-find it and rediscover it.
Yeah. And it's painful. Like, you know, having learned obviously a lot more about myself since then, and you know, some of the language and the notions that we've, you know, amassed collectively as well, has really helped me to understand that yes, it's definitely my soul has felt at odds, but my brain also has felt at odds with so much
tell
of
me about that.
How many tangents can we go on today?
Oh my god, I'm the queen of tangents. I'm like the whole tapestry by the end of this podcast.
You and I in conversation are just
exactly.
like chaos.
It's chaos. It's pure chaos. Yeah, like tell me about that. Is that one of the things you've, as a creative rebellion person, is that something you've had to work with, like working through how your brain actually works?
I'm still finding out how it works, definitely. So I'll give you an example. This past year, so you know me for like you know, basically getting on big canvases, getting a bit kind of
getting naked, scrolling around,
energetic, bringing all the cosmos in and down onto the canvas, and that is that's such an expansive part and healing part of what I've learned to embrace and fully embody for myself. And my brain lights up as well when I do that. Excuse me. And I am very academic and analytical. I don't know why my camera's just done that.
It zoomed out to a little sign above your door that just says love.
Yeah.
The cosmos is like, yeah, baby, love. That's all there is.
Yeah, I'm very academic and analytical, which I often like to forget about myself, because that to me can often feel really contracting, but it's part of me.
Yeah.
So there's, you know, I am somebody who definitely holds at least two possibilities at the same time, simultaneously, usually multiple. And I do believe in multiple realities. I believe in holding multiple realities. And that is a world that we do not live in. The world is okay. Tell me more about that.
Tell me more about, yeah, because I've never heard anyone talk like about, I mean, obviously I've heard people and talk myself about multiple realities, but something just sparked in me when you said, I believe in holding multiple realities. What do you mean by that?
Well, so the example I was just giving is one kind of way of looking at this, in that, and it sounds really simple, but actually when you're being it can actually feel quite crazy, almost schizophrenic, I guess you'd say. You know, I have this super expensive, super cosmic kind of personality, soul, brain, you know, all of it. And I often struggle to come back down to reality and all that that entails, including having amazing relationships, because I'm like up here and people like, yeah, but what about this here, right here, guys, you know, like, let's deal with this. But this year I've really poured myself into applying for public funding and like art prizes and like all the things basically. So that I can really pursue what I want to do, because I want to take my art into the public realm, and I want it to be what's the word? I want it to be enjoyed, but and I want it to inspire people in the real world as opposed to on screen, and you know. And maybe 3 years ago, I did my first ever application, like grant public award funding application, and I was tearing my hair out. I was like, I can't do this. It's too hard. It's not accessible, you know. My brain doesn't work like this. I can't put all of these cosmic thoughts and feelings into something that is asking me these stupidly narrow questions. and you know, asking me to explain and like prove myself as well, you know. I hate having to prove myself to anybody.
And why should we have to, you know? It's
but that is our culture.
Yeah.
So anyway, you know, after a year of really like just doing more and more and more and more and more and more, and I have worked with an access to work coach once or twice as well, which has helped. I've actually got quite good at doing these applications. I'm not brilliant because it still frustrates the hell out of me, but I'm able to put a lot more of that cosmic feeling and embodiment into words. And I do love language. I did a degree in linguistics because I love language, and I believe that it has so much power and potential. And equally, you know, coming back to our multiple realities, it's patriarchal. Language is completely patriarchal. So how do you kind of bring all of the feminine energy into something that is like, yeah, how do you do it?
That is so fascinating, because I also absolutely love language and did a literature degree, and I have a totally different viewpoint.
Okay.
Like I see language as the flowing, ephemeral blossoming of the feminine. Like I see it completely differently. That's so fascinating. I totally see how like language could get trodden on by the patriarchy.
Well, it's formed by it necessarily. You know, if you just think about our history, like, you know, what has formed countries and politics and all of our ideologies has also formed language.
But I don't know. I'm not going to get into a debate with you about it.
This is a whole other debate.
The least interesting part of the magic that you are sharing. So I'm gonna move on from that, because my Virgo is like, okay.
But this is holding multiple realities in evidence, isn't it? And I think that our world right now would do so much better if we could all do this.
Hold multiple realities.
Yes.
Yeah, I totally.
Instead of saying, we're the fact checkers on this thing, or, you know, has somebody like approved that, or like, where's your sources? And yes, don't get me wrong, sources are important, but my God, there are so many different realities to hold at once, and that's just in ourselves, let alone in the bigger, wider world.
Love that. I love that, because it just opens up a world of possibility that currently is being wasted and isn't being explored. And it makes, yeah, it's beautiful. It's such a beautiful idea, holding different realities like that. And like, with your work, I've had the great pleasure of coming down to your studio a couple of years on the trot, when you've
Yeah.
held these incredible exhibitions. And you, like, I know you are someone who, much like me, you choose your words with precision, and you talk about immersive. So
Yes.
tell me about, like, how, the choice of word immersive for your art. And also, I get a sense, and I might be wrong, and I'm cheating because I know you, but I get a sense that, like, the word immersive refers to your process as well as the outcome.
Absolutely. Yeah, it does. And it's weird, even though I know that, I've never actually thought of it like
I'm good at that. I'm really good at that, like seeing connections of things under the surface. Okay, you've never thought about it like that.
well, yeah. So let's just say
Tell everyone about it. Oh,
I yeah, I of course it's immersive because I get on the canvas, I get in the paint. I'm a little bit more careful these days about using gloves and stuff because my skin, you're not meant to get acrylic and oil paint on you. So yeah, I'm a little bit more careful about that. But certainly when I started, I was like getting paint all over my body and loving it, honestly, loving it, just rolling around in it. Um, I wanted it, and it still is, just in a slightly more protective way. A fully immersive experience, fully embodied experience. I bring embodied intention onto the canvas. I don't just, yes, it's fun to just like get on there and play and do whatever, but when I'm creating something like a painting or an installation, I want to bring something very specific to the canvas rather than it just being about what my kind of chaotic self is bringing in that moment. And of course, there's always going to be a bit of that because I'm part of it. But yes, I'm a yoga teacher as well, so I bring all of that. Yay, yoga teachers!
yay, yoga teachers! Criminally underrated. How amazing we all are.
So yeah, I tune in beforehand and I set the scene, and I don't necessarily voice what the intention is because I would rather feel it. I'm very much a somatic person, especially when I'm in that space. But interestingly, when I'm writing as well, so I'm writing a novel at the moment.
I didn't even know that. That's
just
so
on the side.
Yeah.
And often I'll have to pause and feel what I want to express before I can put it into words. Sometimes the words flow out. That's great. But when I come to a section, I'm like, what am I trying to say? I've got to really feel into it. So yeah, it's a very similar process. It frustrates me sometimes because, well, let's go into the clear what do you call them?
The Claire models, like
clear audience, clear sentience, all of these things. I get really envious of people who can, for example, they can see energies, they can see, even if it's like spirits or just colors or any of these kind of like energetic
frequencies.
Yeah, they can see them.
Yeah, I do not have that gift.
And I think
I'm a clairsentient being.
Yeah, and it's wonderful having that somatic knowing.
Yeah.
It's so powerful, but it's so intangible as well. It's so and that's why I talk about bringing the intangible and making it kind of obvious and clear and beautiful and immersive, because we are a visually oriented society, and we are so much more. We are so much more. Oh my God. And not all of us, we all have different approaches. We all have different powers. So not all of us can see everything that we should be seeing, that we could be seeing.
I really love that. Like, I've never heard you explain it in that way before. Of because I'm a somebody who feels energy as well. I'm not someone who sees, and I'm definitely not someone who hears.
Yes.
Only time I hear is when I'm doing sound therapy work, and it's really weird. I'll hear what I need to do next before I do it, and that's how I like developed all my voice work. Was I started hearing sound
Amazing.
that
Yeah.
my voice needed to do. That was kind of my process with that. But I love what you were saying about being a somatic experiencer, being clairsentient, and actually that the immersive quality and the embodied quality they're adjacent, but they're not. What I was hearing you say is they're adjacent, but they're not quite the same thing. And because the immersion, it sounds like anyway, and I'd love you to correct me, but it sounds like the immersion is also, it's about translating the what you are feeling through the medium of your own embodiment to take it out from the liminal and the unseen into something that then becomes tangible, that
Yeah.
people can immerse themselves in and then feel it and receive it themselves.
Well, actually, our gorgeous friend Yolande made me understand this, because I was talking to her about the fact that she can see things, she can see energies, and saying it's so unfair. I want to be able to see stuff. And she was like, but you feel it and you create it for other people.
Yeah.
So, but that translation that you're talking about, that's not something that's conscious.
No.
It's complete, like, I bypass all analytical, like present conscious kind of goings on when I'm painting. It's all very much in the subconscious kind of liminal, I love that word, liminal space. And I very much trust. So it's not like when I'm writing, that is such a kind of, left-brained activity, isn't it? It's like you're just there, you're processing words, you're kind of constantly analyzing. It's just part of using language.
Sorry, this is fascinating, because literally, as a poet, that is like your process of creating art is the same as my process of creating poetry. Like I have to get all of that out the way.
Yeah.
I don't do any analysis. I don't do any thinking of words. Well, the minute I do that as a writer, that's where I just shut the channel off completely.
Yeah.
Can't do it.
And I totally agree, because this is multiple realities again. I was, especially when I wrote this book,
which is called
It's Written in the Stars: Poems, Reflections and Transmutations on Becoming. And it's so also beautiful. It's so, I think we all went through a massive poetry, like collective kind of transmission or something during the pandemic. But yeah, poetry,
I missed that transmission.
Poetry was pouring out of me.
Beautiful.
And this book was the easiest thing I've ever written in my life. It just all came together. And yes, writing can be like that for me. And at the same time, I find that I go in and out a lot more. So I can be in it for periods, but then I'll briefly come out. It's usually to think of the perfect word, perfect in loose terms, obviously. But with painting, I really don't come out of that kind of trance, as it were, until I'm cleaning up,
Wow.
basically.
So you're proper, like when you're painting, you're in that absolute flow state.
Yeah, yeah. And I see all of these like Instagram reels and stuff about like painters hating what they've like, oh, it's not going the way I want, and like I made this mistake, and this isn't right, and constantly being in that analytical space. And I'm like, you're just not in the right space. Like, you've just got to let it flow and
Wow.
trust it. And the trusting, and yeah, sometimes when I'm cleaning up, I'm like, I don't know what I've just made, that looks a bit of a mess, but I'm just going to come back to it next time and just trust. And yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I'm like always fascinated by that flow state, like that state where time stops existing, where your kind of analytical mind is somewhere else and you're just so immersed in what you're doing. And like, I don't know, I read years and years ago when I started reading about stuff like this, I read a lot of things talking about how like that state, when you're in that state, that you're doing your soul's work.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I so relate to that because it
Yeah.
feels expansive.
It does, doesn't it?
I get this feeling writing my novel as well, unless I get stuck, which happens occasionally, and then I'll just move on to another section. But yeah, it's, one of the reasons that I started writing, I've been writing this for a few years, but I've been definitely writing more this year, is I think as an antidote to all of the applications and stuff, I just wanted to lose myself in another immersive world, basically.
Oh, so
So I
good.
wanted to create something written that I could just lose myself in, and
Yeah.
as like alongside the painting. So I love creating immersive worlds for people
Oh,
where they can just lose themselves and be in a completely different energy and space, and um, essentially future for themselves.
mm,
That's what I really feel like I create, is an alternative, or maybe a more soul aligned future for the people that I sell my paintings to, or who come to be in my installations.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Is that part of the shifting paradigms that you've talked about?
Is that a question?
is,
Sorry.
is that part of the shifting paradigms that you've talked about? You talk about like I'm super Virgo and super organized, so I get everyone to fill out a form before they come on the podcast.
Oh god, yeah.
And I asked what people want to talk about, and one of the things Zoe said is creative rebellion and shifting paradigms through the
Oh
magical arts.
yes, thank you. I always forget what I write on these things.
I know. It's like you fill it out weeks ago and then I'm like, and you said this very highly specific thing.
I'm not the kind, so I'm not Virgo. I don't, for all the applications that I've been doing, sometimes I like go back and I'll reuse snippets. I never reuse the entire thing because obviously it has to be, yeah, anyway. But usually I'll just write things off the cuff. And one of the things that, when I was, you asked me for like a little short bio, and that's something I always really struggle with. And so I just shoved something in there. So I'm really grateful that you expanded that.
I see your bio, I up you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to write it down after.
Yeah, get the
But
show notes.
the shifting paradigms, yes, absolutely. It's, I often wonder, I think pretty much every single day, I wonder how much of a reality we are in right now that is, dark and constricting and war torn, and I'm, oh my God, immediately I want to say, God, I am not like dismissing all the things happening in the world, because it's just fucking horrific. But how much of that is our only or main reality, honestly? And how much of that has to be our only or main reality, honestly? Because if that is our only or main reality, then where is it taking us?
Well, it's like you said, I feel like this is such an incredible example of holding multiple realities. Because, like, I think about this all the time. Because I think part of me is like, how, Rachel, how dare you be so lost in joy and so lost in expansion and so lost in the vision that you're trying to create,
Yeah.
so untied into a lot of the horrors that are happening.
Yeah.
But it's like when I look around at my actual reality, like if say the internet didn't exist, say we didn't have news from around the world, and we just lived like we did 100, 200 years ago with the reality
Yeah.
that's immediately around us. I have loving neighbours. I have food growing in the hedgerows. I have
Yeah.
wonderful people that I see every day who are pleased to see me and I'm pleased to see. Like my actual reality is just gorgeous, and I'm surrounded by people like you, people like our friends who are doing incredible things every day and living these beautiful lives publicly.
Yeah.
I feel like it's exactly like you said earlier. It's like allowing ourselves to hold multiple realities, and in addition to that, allowing ourselves to feed the reality that we really want to see.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that will be my internet in the middle of nowhere has just gone a bit funny. It always does this. So apologies, everybody. I'm just gonna ad lib a little bit till the amazing Zoe's internet catches up. Now I'm feeling like I need to sing a song. Nobody needs that right now. Come on, internet. It should be back any second. And we will carry on talking about it. There's a lot I still need to ask Zoe about, because she's doing some other amazing stuff at the moment. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, I'm just going to pause it. So there was me busy trying to ad lib, and it turns out it wasn't my terrible internet. Zoe had a power cut, which I take to mean we are so goddamn powerful that we broke the internet again. We broke the power again. But yeah, we were talking about different realities and holding space for different realities. And yeah, because we're getting to the end of our interview, and I really want to hear, like, I can't wait to hear you tell people about what you are currently working on.
Let's go.
Let's go. Tell me
everything. So, as I mentioned, I have started to create these installations. And what I mean by that is big painted canvas installations that you can walk in and through and round.
When you say big, you mean big, don't you?
I mean big. So big. Yeah, you can actually be in it.
So good.
And I'm loving creating them. And equally at the same time, it's really hard. So I have my studio. I actually have an installation up in there that I put up originally over a year ago, and it's still up because it takes a lot of like, it's high up in the rafters. I have to, like, it's a lot of work, guys.
Yeah. Don't judge me, it's a lot of work, okay?
I have to paint in there as well. So long story short, I would love to keep putting on installations and I'm inviting people to see them at my studio. But there's factors that make that tricky. And also I want to get my work, like all of this stuff, out in the real world where people can really enjoy it and see it and immerse themselves. So currently I am working on manifesting something that I have called Reclaim Invisible Bodies. And this is rooted in something that we didn't touch on, but no shade on Rachel. We went down lots of like tangents today. I have struggled with chronic illness like my whole life. I've been through a massive healing crisis in my life as well, which pivoted me into much of my kind of embodied journey, basically, yoga teaching included. And I see in the world today a place that makes it really hard to be somebody who struggles with chronic illness, or any disability, any neurodivergence. All of these things are wired into our systems to make it feel like we're failing as human beings. And quite often we fall through the systems as well because we don't fit neatly into boxes. You know, for example, I'm somebody who, yes, I'm physically fit and able, and yet energetically, and you know, when I have my flares, which can happen at any time, like I can't just do a 9-to-5 job anymore because I physically wouldn't be able to do that, mentally, emotionally, all of it. But try and describe that, try and prove that to a system. It's really hard. And we all know people, I'm sure, who also struggle in similar respects. So this project is really about reclaiming our power, because we are fucking beautiful, amazing, and powerful individuals, regardless of whatever limitations we face. And I believe in this so strongly because our power is constantly trying to be erased from us. And this goes for humanity right now, okay? But, you know, especially people who really struggle with daily limitations. So yeah, I'm being a little bit distracted because my son's outside, sorry.
Oh, okay. That's okay.
And yes, the idea is I have talked to a commercial unit in central Exeter, and they are happy for me to put on an installation in this space, which would be fucking amazing. So the idea is to bring an installation. I'm just going to pause a second. Harris, can you just give me some space, please? Just like
the reality, guys. This is the reality, right?
Like, sorry, he's just sitting there and like looking at me.
You're like, dude, you are not helping right now.
Where was I?
Has he cleared off? Has he done what?
He's in the kitchen.
Oh,
yeah.
The rat bag.
Yeah.
You were just saying that you've got a space lined up.
Yeah.
To do in central Exeter to put on the immersion.
Yes. Yes. And as part of it, so this is a community thing. It's community fed, which means that I'm going to be putting on one of my sacred expression workshops, which is where people come and basically get to experience some of what I kind of experience as a painter, except they're doing it on paper and with pastels, and it's fully embodied in a kind of yoga style session sort of way, and it's a lot of fun, but it's also incredibly empowering, which is the key point. So I'm inviting a few people who self-identify as having chronic illness or multiple, or any disability, any limitation, including neurodivergencies, and they can come and just begin to explore that in a fully embodied way and begin to really understand what it means to have that power within them and to bring it out onto the paper. And these essentially these components that they make, they're going to be used as inclusions in the final installation, because these are literally emanations of reclaiming our power.
Oh, so good. So people who self-identify as having any kind of limitation, disability, chronic illness, neurodifference, whatever that might be, who self-identify as that, can come to the workshop. They can go through the process. They can reclaim that power for themselves, and then their work gets to be part of the immersion.
Yes, and I'll be creating.
How cool is that?
It is. It's beautiful.
When artist Zoe Foster, guys, like creator of worlds, literally.
I just, I'm so passionate about this, and it's really hard to. I believe in bringing activism through in a different way. I get so into my root and sacral sometimes, and the rage just wants to come out, and I just want to kind of like grab people and go but I do believe essentially, and okay, there's lots of different ways that we can make a change, of course there is. And I also think that we forget how powerful art is. All art, art is what fuels us. Art is what brings all of these powerful emotions through us. It helps us transmute emotions as well. And I do believe that art is alchemy, and it can not just impact change, it can create change in our consciousness, in our cultural consciousness, just by existing. And I can imagine a world where there's so much more art that we encounter on a daily basis that is consciously created. And how much more beautiful, how much more incredible and light and joyous would our world be, honestly.
Totally agree. And I just love that idea. And the word that kept like percolating in my mind was like, how much more true, with a capital T.
Yeah. Without all of the filters of negative media and propaganda.
And also, like, coming back to the I mean, this is something I talk about extensively. Like, without the patriarchal filter of judgment attached to it, what gets to be considered good, what gets to be considered worthwhile, what gets to be considered a worthy piece of art, like without all of that, like underneath that, that's not true. That doesn't represent truth, because that's coming from a place of left brain judgment and conditioning. But what you're talking about is true, with a capital T. The process is true. Like the what comes out the other end is true. There's just this incredible truth to it that is so needed, so desperately needed, and will set people free. Like you said, I wrote down to put in the notes, art is alchemy.
It is.
I just think that's so beautiful.
And I, just to make it clear, I mean human, consciously created art with intention.
Beautiful.
That's a whole other discussion for
It
another day.
is. That's a powerful discussion. Zoe, where can people find you?
So I am on Instagram.
Yay.
We
As
all still hanging in there.
what are you on Insta as? Can they find you on Insta as?
So I'm at Zoe KM Foster.
At Zoe KM Foster. Awesome.
I'm on Substack as well. Substack is one of my main places because I love to write. I love to share my big long musings and philosophical
Amazing.
rantings. And yeah, that's at Zoe KM Foster as well. Pretty much all social media, it's the same tag, but those are the two main places. And then there's obviously my website, zoekmfoster.com. And I am also crowdfunding for this project, Reclaim Invisible Bodies. So I would love to fund it all myself. Unfortunately, that's not a reality right now. But I would if I could. So if you can help in any way, for example, funding one person on this workshop would be £25 for materials. So that would be incredible. Even if you can like donate £5 towards that, that would just be amazing.
I love the
Absolutely
idea
amazing.
that somebody could like donate £25 to the crowdfunder, and then another person who maybe doesn't have £25 to be able to
Exactly.
could attend.
Exactly.
I'm doing that.
Yeah.
I'm
I
gonna
want this. Yeah, I want this to be open and accessible. I want it to be super accessible for everybody. And I know that just so, especially right now, it's so difficult for people who have limitations, who their finances are really, really kind of up against it. So the idea is that the places are free and open to come to the workshop and take part.
Oh, I love that. I will be sharing the crowdfunder in the show notes. I'll be sharing all sorts of goodies from Zoe, including, I believe I saw a little giveaway that she's going to be running of 5 places on a fully embodied creative expression workshop to give away as part of my Reclaim. So hopefully some of us can sponsor someone who can't afford it can get on, and it will be all one big love fest. Zoe, you are amazing and you never fail to inspire me. Like, your work is incredible, your words are incredible, your realities that you hold are incredible. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. She loves it.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been wanting to do this forever, and I'm just so grateful for you for holding this space.
I love it, babes. This has been She Loves It, episode 39 with Zoe KM Foster. I am your host, Rachel Smith-Bone. I have been coming in your ears with joy, love, and delight for the last hour. I hope you love this episode. If you know somebody who would love this podcast and needs to hear this message, share this episode with that person. And if you haven't already, like, subscribe, leave me a 5-star review, because that's a really lovely thing to do. Do it, as Zoe says. Thank you so much, everybody, and I will catch you on the flip side.